So this is an unboxing for a new project. I kind of know what it is. I've already opened it because I didn't know what was in it, because I didn't know it was coming. Yeah, I've had a commission to make 3 or 4 models from a guy, and this is the first. He didn't drop me an email to say it was coming, so when this rather heavy box arrived, it's like, what is this? And the first thing I took out was this very heavy solid piece of resin of a lunar surface. That should have been a clue as to what was going on. And yeah, it is this, which I must say, even though I'm a fan of the technology of the Jerry Anderson shows, and I'm a fan of the variations of the Eagle craft and the Earth fleet that's all done in a similar design. This is a new one on me, all right? My client said he won it in a competition on Facebook, and when he got it, he realised it was a bit beyond his modelling abilities, so he's asked me if I would do it, and I said sure. I'm really looking forward to it, because look at this. This is a resin kit, old school resin, none of this 3D printed, in 2 different types of resin. That shows you that it's old school. Look, 2 different batches of resin, so the colour's slightly different, but the detail is amazing. All right, so that's the body, and it seems, I seem to remember, because this is end of January and we were having conversations in like November. He did send me photos, and it seems to be like a fighter craft version of an Eagle. Oh, here we go. This is where I can have a look to see more information about it. Fast forward models, original sci-fi model resin kits, BP Taylor. Now BP Taylor is ringing a bell. See, look, there's a wing, stubby little wing. Cool, look at the size of those nozzles. Nicely detailed again. As I say, off the top of my head, I haven't got a clue what bit goes where. And I think we've got, yeah, another wing, which isn't in a bag. One's in a bag and one's not. That's a bit weird. See, right now, I'm assuming they go that way up. All right. There's a business card. That's it. It's just polystyrene chips in there. Now, there are no decals. No decals at all. So all the detailing is going to have to be done with paint, but that's okay. So yeah, this is, yeah, let's see if I can work out how it goes. See, that's the main body, and I think, yeah, the wings go on there like that. It's like an Eagle jet. All right, I think the next thing to do then is visit his website, work out what's what, work out what I've got to do, have a look and see. There's a little bit of flash in there, but it's quite crisply cast. Very nice, very nice. So yeah, looking forward to this. This is timed quite well. Well, not timed quite well. I'm going to have Eagle overload. At the time I'm recording, I'm waiting for the MPC Eagle with booster rockets is coming. That's my next project after this one. So it's going to be Eagles a go-go soon. Well, looking into it, this seems to be a multi-option kit. It's been built that way. All right, it's up to you basically what you want to do with it. It explains why there is no real rear to it. That's because the bits that are supplied with it, you don't have to. If you want to have this as like a command module of a much longer ship, you can, and that's quite a nice idea to just continue the width of it from about there. So it's almost like an arrowhead, isn't it? You know, a very slim rest of the body. So that option's there if you want it. You're given a number of options for the rear with the supplied pieces. This one, until I realised that, was a bit odd. It's like, but that's not an engine. That's like an access hatch or something. And of course it would be an access hatch if you're going to connect that into something else. And this is the plug that goes into something. So not using that. What I'm going for is this one. All right, which is, you see I've drilled a hole ready for the bit that fits on the end. And you've got two options. You've got a mini engine bell, or you've got a bigger engine bell, and this is the one I'm going for. All right, so that's the rear half. Now, the other thing is I've realised it comes in two halves, because the option there is, if you wish, you can scratch build an interior. All right, not doing that, I'm cracking on. So obviously it needs windows. Now this is what I've done. So what I did was I got some tracing paper and cut it down so it's slightly bigger than the recess there. You can see that this has been done, you know, to allow for sticking windows in, which I really like and respect them for doing. So I got a bit of tracing paper, cut it to slightly bigger than that lip round, and then just cut it down and cut it down and cut it down until I had a template, which is this fella. Is the left one. That's that one. All right. And once I'd cut that out, I could then get, I'm beginning to use these an awful lot now, one of these, a lid off of a takeaway tub. All right, because it's clear plastic and it's flexible. And what's even better with this one, this middle bit had a slight bow to it, which is perfect for there. So what I did was I laid this piece of tracing paper down onto it, and I cut out the shape again, which is this. And once I had cut it out, what I did was I painted the back in just a regular black, because if you paint clear plastic on the back, what you get is a black tinted piece. All right. And then the other thing I did is I also got a piece of paper, did the same thing, got a piece of paper and got it to fit just inside, held it in place with one of my fingers, and then on this side drew round it. All right, and that is the shape of that slot. So what I'm going to do is once everything is assembled, or shortly, before it, yeah, thinking about it, I better do this before I glue the two halves together. This then basically is the shape of that window. This is a masking template for the masking to mask them up. I'm just thinking that maybe I should do that before I glue the two bits together. What I don't want to have happen is I glue the two halves together, all right, and while I'm faffing around sticking the masking tape on the glued in panels, windows, the glue gives way and it falls in. Don't want that, because then how on earth am I going to get to it? So I need to make sure that they're put in, glued in nice and strongly and masked up before I put that half on. Right, go on, glint, glint, glint. There we go. As you can see, glossy windows are in. So now they're in, I can seal these two halves up, put the tail on the back, put the wings on, and then I've got to find the center of gravity of this thing, because I'm going to use the moon base for a base. Sorry, I'm babbling. With a piece of clear acrylic rod. To do that, I need to find out the center of gravity of this ship. I can't do it yet because I haven't stuck the tail on the back. I've tried blue tacking that in place to get a rough idea, and I have got a rough idea, but engine bell keeps drooping and falling off. So, and I'm not taking into account the wings whose attaching point is there. So the way I see it, I've got to build the whole ship in its entirety, work out the centre of gravity, which I think is about there, and then drill a hole, which is going to be a shame because it means it's going to have to go through some detail. But there ain't no landing gear with this ship, and it doesn't look like it just lands on its belly, so needs to be done. Bit of a leap forward here, so masking in on the windows, both halves put together. Yeah, I had to put a disc on the back just to give the engine section something more to purchase onto, and that all looked a bit blank there. So what I did was I've put a band of plasticard just there to just kind of strengthen the joint a little bit more, and I've gone in with some kit pieces, the biggest one being this yellow bit on up the top off of a Tamiya military kit. These little shapes are actually lifeboats from, I think it's the Bismarck's, the Airfix Bismarck kit, but it's the underside, because the underside has got a little slot which goes into a recess. So I've turned them over, I've got a panel there. I've also put the odd bit of half rod here and there just to break things up a bit, because I think I might be doing different colours, and that's a differentiation line, if you like. So there we are, we're nearly ready to go with the putting the wings on. And once the wings are on, it'll be primer time, although the weather is now meant to be not too good, so I might have to wait a little while for the priming, but coming together. Okay, with the wings attached, on with a coat of grey primer, which instantly gives it more weight and heft. Next step is white primer, but I'm going to do something which I've seen people do, and my friend Mark has done, which is something called overspraying, which is basically, and I'm going to do it with these three panels, because I figure these are the undercarriage parrot panels, which is before spraying with the main coat, you mask up areas of a different colour, and then when you put the base coat on, you remove the masking, and you get a subtle, or you should get a subtle variation in colour, because when I put the top coat on this, it will be over white primer, but after I put the white primer on, I'm going to remove these. So when I put the top coat on, which is a form of white, that will be going over white primer over most of it, giving you a certain shade, and hopefully these going over the grey will give you a bit of a slightly different shade. So yeah, white primer next. No, I thought it was going too well. So this is the white primer over the top of the grey primer, and you can see I've removed the masking tape to reveal the grey primer. And the idea, as I said before, is when I paint the main coat on, you should have a difference in shade between the main coat over the white primer to main coat over the grey primer, right? All well and good. Then what I thought I'd do before I start putting on the main coat is mask up some of the now white panels and then remove them after the main coat has gone on, and then you should have a subtle difference in white. That was the plan, and I started on the top, and this is what has happened. Even though I used the same masking tape as I did on those, and it worked fine and it removed fine, as soon as I started to try to remove these, it lifted both sets of paint, the white primer and the grey primer. Now I've cleaned all of these pieces of resin all equally the same, so I don't know what the problem is here, but this is causing a rethink now. I'm going to have to mask this area back up to respray it grey and then white again, but I can't risk masking up with masking tape. I've got low tack Tamiya tape, and that would do the job, but there's an awful lot to mask up. So I'm going to mask this actually up with cling film. I'm just going to cover all this area up with cling film and spray it grey and then spray it white. It's annoying. It's a delay of a day. Okay, there we go. Base coat is on, and the base coat is the actual base coat that they used back in the mid-70s, which is Ford Diamond White. Still available. Went down the shops to my local car supplier and picked one up, and there we have it. All right. Now, this, of course, is the colour that to American builders of the Eagle Transporter would give their eye teeth for, but it's not available out there, and you know, a complete match isn't out there, and you know, you cannot send aerosol cans to the States. So yeah, sorry, any American watcher to this. This isn't me gloating. It's just unfortunate that it just seems very strange in this modern, you know, transatlantic world that you know, I can pop to my local shop and get it, but if you're outside the UK, you can't. So sorry about that. So that's it. And now you know, I had this problem with those panels and the paint lifting. I would like to mask stuff off. I don't want to just hand paint stuff. I want to mask stuff off. So my Tamiya tape is low tack, and to give it a chance, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait a good 2 days now. For this paint. I mean, it's dry enough to handle fine, but I want it to cure and go hard and go solid before I attempt my next step. Okay, that's the all the base colours on, and then with a hard sharp pencil, I've gone round and drawn into the panel lines to get graphite in there. All right, now this model doesn't come with any decals. So what I did a week or so ago was I found on eBay someone who does 1/72 scale Eagle decals, except they're not decals, they're actually stickers, and this is one of them just here, and it works. It does the trick, gives you a little bit of detail, but can you see on the bottom there, it's the thickness of paper. So it's not a decal, it's a detail which, because of the thickness of the paper, looks like a panel. And that's okay. I'm trying this out on the underside here, right? So that's one thing, but you can see there are others. There are decals, and these are proper decals. And that's a stroke of good luck. And I wish I'd thought about this. I could have saved my money on the decal stickers. I'm currently at the same time building this kit, right? And as usual with this company, the side of the box shows you decal placement. Well, because this pod is going to be fixed in place on my Eagle, it meant that those decals there, right, 20, 21 and 22 won't be seen, nor 29 for that matter, nor 27 for that matter. So at the moment, I've got 20, 21 and 22. You're not going to see them, therefore I don't need them. Therefore, I've snipped them off the instruction sheet and I've applied them. That's these little things and that orange one over there, all right, and over there, all right, and there. Okay, so that's good. It also says, somewhere on the box, optional marking decals are included to be placed at the modeller's discretion. So from that, what I take from that is every so often, all the decals are numbered for placement, all right? But some of the decals don't have numbers, i.e. here. So I think these are generic, use them how you want them decals, which is going to be a great help, a real great help. So I've cut some off there, and those ones that I've cut off there are this type, which is, where are they? Where are they gone? Yeah, this type. All right. So next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to seal this all with a coat of matte varnish to seal in the graphite to, you know, just stick the decals down properly. I'm hoping the matte varnish doesn't affect that paper decal, otherwise that's got to come off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the weathering. I'm going to do the bottom first, then flip it and do the top. All right. So yeah, I'll come back with that done. All right, so that's the matte varnish on, which is very good. Toned everything down. It's in showroom finish, but that's the finish of that, because I'm going to start weathering it. And to the degree of the weathering, I don't know what to do, how far to go. And to aid me in that, I'm going to be using this new product, which I've only really come across now, doing that other Eagle thing. Flory Models, their grey weathering wash. And it's going very well on the Eagle Transporter. And the beauty of this stuff is it's not like I've said on my other video, it's not like a stain, it's not a wash, it's not an ink, it's not a contrast paint. It's some sort of clay with paint pigment, and a couple of other things that they won't say what is in there. Look, water-based clay wash. So basically what you do is you just put some in a little tub, wash it on, leave it 20 minutes, and then dab it off. I've got my cotton buds ready. You wipe it off, and you just keep going and going until you reach a point where you're happy with it. And the beauty of this stuff is it never totally dries. You can, if like a week later you think, oh, maybe I should take a bit more off, you just put some more damp cotton bud and wipe it, reactivates the clay, and you can remove. So I'm going to come back in a minute once I've put that wash on and once it's had its 20 minutes drying. All right. Okay, this is 25 minutes the stuff's been on. One of the things that's a bit worrying when it first goes on is it's all very bubbly. But as you can see, the bubbles have smoothed themselves out. You've got a little residue of it there. And now, yeah, I'm going in with the cotton buds and just wipe and wipe until I'm happy with the result. I'm thinking this is quite good because it's the underside of like a glider thing. So it should maybe be a bit more weathered than the top. I don't know. I'll see how I go. Okay, so there we go, wiped off. There's my dirty cotton buds. I'm happy with that. I've had a small problem though. Even though I'd sealed it in with matte varnish, something in that reacted with the decals. You can see here with this one, there's a little bit of muck there, and I think it's part of the decal. It's reacting in some way to the decals. I've lost half that decal there, and the orange decal that was over there is gone. But I learnt a lesson, and the other ones I very gently rubbed and they've stayed in place. I think that's something to remember. I mean, that's one of the reasons I did the underside first, was because this is a new product for me and I'm still learning it. And this, once finished, is going to be attached to the moon base. So you're not going to see a lot of the underside. So this is a good way of trying things out. What I'm very happy about is I thought I was going to have a problem with it reacting with that that paper sticker, but no, that's fine. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I'm happy with the leaving some of the areas darker than others for scoring of continually going in atmospheres. All right, so I'm going to leave this a day now to dry properly, flip it over, and do the same to the top side. You know, apply decals, mark out the panel lines in pencil, seal with matte varnish, and off we go again. All right, so that's the upper section done. I've lost a few decals along the way. I've learned what you've got to do is use plenty of water and just very, very gently rub if you want them to stay put. So there was one there, and there's a couple of other ones. I'm just going to put them. More generic ones from the from the transporter kit I'll put on, and then I'll just seal them with matte varnish from out of a bottle. You can see I've blocked in the metallics. These are going to be lighter. This is just like a base, and I'm going to go lighter, and then I'm going to wash them down. So not far off now. I'll get that done, and then I'm looking forward to this doing all the black window affair. Nice to see one of the windows after all this time. I just peeled the masking off to just see if it would come off after being on there for such a long time, and no, that's fine. So I'm just finishing off the blacks around the windows, and then I've got to put a wash on the white bars, you know, amongst the blacks to match the weathering of the rest of it. And I've got to talk about the base, and I haven't really talked about the base, but there's the base, which, as you see, I've drilled a hole in. I'm just about to start painting that. And the other thing I didn't say when I was painting the underside was that I had already drilled a hole, and I covered it up with a piece of card, blue tacked in place. Well, I've removed that now. That's ready for gluing. So I'll come back with everything finished. And there we go. Painted the base, obviously in greys, but I kept it quite dark. I didn't want to detract too much from the ship. Yeah, we've got a clear rod there, which goes up into the belly of the ship, and that's detachable. Later on today, I'm posting this off to my client, so that'll be separate in the box. And yeah, there we go, all done. Been great fun. This it's a fun build. It took a lot longer than I thought it was going to, mainly because of the weather. You know, just the amount of having to go outside and spray. But yeah, it's a nifty little high-speed Eagle variant. I've enjoyed this commission, and yeah, and I've been in touch with my client, and it looks like there's going to be another Space 1999 variation I'll be tackling soon.